Okay, sorry, this is a two-parter. And I'm eating popcorn. My bad. But so past the cost. If you haven't watched part one, you really want to watch part one before watching this. So pause me and watch part one. Okay. So following letting you guys know about the cost of IVF that we have to pay, and I'm sure all of you have watched my IVF warning, there are tears video, and the fact that Chris's parents are going to be paying for our IVF, which is just holy shit. I'm just looking at all the paperwork and stuff like that to see what is relevant to tell you guys. La, 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 la. So basically, I have to be scheduled for an anesthesia consult. Oh, also, women out there that are wanting to do IVF, BMI, body mass index, definitely is a huge factor, a huge part of this. They will not do your IVF. Now listen, they will not do your IVF if your BMI is over 35%. Okay? They won't do it. They will make you lose weight before you do it. Mine was 35.7. Just a few pounds. I probably have to lose like 5 pounds, and I'm good. No issues. I want to lose weight anyway, but whatever. They give you a book for gestation pregnancy and multiple births. I would just be excited to come up with 2 names. Let's see. They give you information about the flu vaccine. There's also info about flu prevention, because they won't do it if you're sick. I would be devastated. I'd be like, you know what? I don't care. I'm sorry, there's obviously, as you know, 1,000 pieces of paperwork over here. Okay. Also, this is an important piece of paper that, yeah, I want to know when we start this. So, it says managing your IVF cycle requires us to coordinate your cycle with the clinical and laboratory schedules. This ensures that your cycle plan will receive optimal monitoring and resources. Your medical treatment plan, selected by your physician and based upon your individual medical needs, will be the driving force as well as when you will be able to start your treatment plan. In order to coordinate cycles effectively, we will need to pre-schedule your IVF start date. We will make every effort to accommodate your preferred timing. However, your treatment will be needed. The treatment you will need to be scheduled on a time that coordinates your cycle and the center's overall IVF schedule. Our goal is to optimize the success of your cycle. Okay. So with that being said, we have, my doctors and I have spoken about when we would be able to do the IVF procedures. I don't know if it's going to be one procedure. And basically they said that at the center that I'm going to, the IVF start dates that I can actually get into is late January, mid-February. Obviously, I'm shooting for late January, but if it's mid-February, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to be okay with it. I'm forced to. But it just gives me something to kind of look forward to, and thinking about that if I do get pregnant and this does work in February, that it's so crazy that this time next year I'll be a mom. I think that's amazing. And that's all I want. I mean, I don't care when it happens, either January or February, but all I know is that this time next year, our baby or babies will be having their first Christmas. I think that's awesome. But the bad thing is, I'll be pregnant throughout the entire summer. Only I could complain about something, right? we also had to go through a bunch of blood tests before we could even proceed with any of the things as far as IVF. The blood work that needed to be completed was a baseline estradiol, FSH, and complete IVF panel. HIV consult if you need to get an HIV test, or else they won't do it. Cystic fibrosis. I actually opted to do the cystic fibrosis blood testing. You didn't have to, but the more you know about your body, the more you know about, what you carry and whatnot is just huge. So I said, okay, test me for cystic fibrosis. And a little insight about cystic fibrosis is if you have to have two carriers to be carrying it on to your child. If I have cystic fibrosis, then they are the cystic fibrosis gene carrier thing. Then they will test Chris. If he does not have cystic fibrosis, fine. If I do not have the gene for cystic fibrosis, they won't test Chris, because you need two partners in order to carry on that gene and have that high risk factor of giving your child cystic fibrosis. Yeah, that as far as that. I'm just looking at all this paperwork to see if you need to know anything else. And I did record, the IVF class on here. Anyway, I'm going to be trying to load this on here and making a video of the entire class, because I recorded the entire class. I really wanted to make a video of the whole thing, but forgot my camera, and I honestly was kind of hesitant to bring it because I'm not sure if they would really want that there. Because all those people are there and you have to have consent forms, yada yada yada. Blech. But as soon as we saw, I can't even go back to that, but as soon as we saw that $4,000 on that piece of paper, we lost it. Like, I dropped my bag and threw the pen that we had to sign a bunch of papers with, and just tried not to cry in front of these people. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. My husband was ecstatic. He's just, he goes like this, he's just like, I have never been so excited to see a $4,000 bill in my life. Neither have I. Yeah. This time next year, I could be a mama. That's so incredible crazy to me. Science to this. But to wrap up this conversation, there's also a couple things that you guys need to know about after you have conceived your child with in vitro fertilization. You will most likely not end up with any leftover eggs. However, if you do end up with leftover eggs, you have three options. One, you can destroy the embryos, but if you have moral factors about that, they won't destroy them. And then in that case, you have two other options. Your two other options are, one, to donate the egg to couples, I can't even talk about this without crying, to donate the eggs to couples that are also dealing with infertility. And the third option is to donate the embryos to stem cell research. So Chris and I have decided to, if we have any extra eggs, and when we're done completing our family, to donate our eggs to couples that are also dealing with infertility and can't make them on their own. And we are going to also donate to stem cell research, because without research comes no progress. And we're definitely all for progress. So science is a huge part of this progress and this process. So that's our decision.